This was a bit of a non-event, not helped by the pitch, and with United missing the drive and inspiration of Brian Robson in midfield. The chances were few and far between, and according to Alex Ferguson, his side didn't really do enough to score. This was the big one that got away, an extraordinary sequence with Kanchelskis bobbling one onto the post and Warren Barton almost turning the rebound into his own goal. As for Wimbledon, they almost won it at the death and were left with a fancy for Leeds to win the title. Terry Phelan on the burst, and it was down to Peter Schmeichel to preserve a point. But United have dropped 5 in the last 2 games. Sheffield Wednesday needed the boss to beat Notts County. After coming on a substitute, Trevor's inviting cross for David Hirst. 12 without a league win for County. Peter Shrees must be feeling like the victim of a conspiracy at the moment. 2 terrible mistakes, the first by Terry Fenwick, the second by 2 of the officials, enabled Dean Saunders to score twice. Spurs played with a lot of spirit in the second half and scored only their 6th goal in a sequence of 15 games that has failed to produce a single victory. Fenwick heading Edinburgh's pinpoint cross to Paul Stewart, and that's goal of the day contender A. Now, when you're hovering precariously above the 3 relegation places, you can do without this sort of thing. Vanden Hau's clearance hit Rush and no one else before going over the byline. But the linesman awarded a corner, and referee Roger Milford obviously saw no reason to overrule that decision. Torsved had the situation under control and knew precisely what he was doing. And from McManaman's corner, Liverpool scored the winner. To make matters worse, there was a strong suspicion of offside. Barnes' header burrows to Saunders, and that's the way things tend to go when your luck's out. 23 for Saunders this season. Forest celebrated Brian Clough's 57th birthday with their 4th successive league win, Manchester City's 3rd straight defeat. Scott Gemmell's long ball to Roy Keane caught City on the hop, and Gary Crosby volleyed in at the far post. Well, leaving that territory unguarded proved to be the fatal flaw as far as City were concerned. Forest spreading the play out to Kingsley Black, and with City's defence scampering back, it was Roy Keane who stooped to conquer. A Forest double over Manchester in the space of 4 days. With Robert Fleck injured and having scored a reserve team hat-trick during the week, Darren Beckford was recalled and put Norwich in front after 2 minutes. Norwich hadn't scored in their 3 previous league games. Everton hadn't exactly been on a high. So what followed was somewhat unexpected, a flurry of goals. Mo Johnston making the most of Butterworth's lapse. Well, coming up, a perfect example of why Peter Beardsley's at his most dangerous when he's encouraged to go forward rather than getting withdrawn into midfield. Ward and Johnston both involved in putting Beardsley clear. Goal of the day contender B, impish, stylish, brilliant. Norwich FA Cup semi-finalists equalised 2 minutes after the interval when Rule Fox crossed for Rob Newman to deliver a thumping header out of Southall's reach. But within 4 minutes, Everton, who'd gone 9 games without defeat, including 6 draws and only 6 goals, were looking the sharper of the 2 sides. At least Beardsley and Johnston were. This time, Beardsley's ingenuity was responsible for Mojo's 4th in 6 games. Certainly his best performance since leaving Rangers. But Norwich weren't done for, not by a long chalk. With 7 minutes left, Everton's usually reliable defence were hustled out of it. Beckford found himself 1-1 with Southall and made it look easy. Then right at the end, Beckford completed a good day's work by making it a hat-trick. Lovely touch by Fox. A quick decision to go with the left foot rather than the right. Dave Stringer's decision to recall him fully justified. Chelsea having a bad time. Steve Clarke couldn't get up high enough and the ball fell conveniently for Dane Whitehouse to put Sheffield United in front. United then returned the favour. From Dennis Wise's corner, Cole Bradshaw provided the flick on and Jason Cundy scrambled it over the line. But United are travelling well. They've now won 4 of their last 5 away games. Simon Tracy's long clearance almost going straight through to Besant until Alan Cork intervened. Whitehouse for his 2nd of the afternoon. A score draw always looked on the cards because Coventry don't get a lot of goals and they don't concede a lot. But Oldham are exactly the opposite. Andy Pearce put Coventry in front, but they haven't won at home in the league now for 7 games. Oldham's equaliser, the sort of goal to give Don Howe nightmares. That's un-Howe-like defending. But credit to Andy Barlow and Nick Henry for taking full advantage. Goal of the day contender C, Mark Pembridge's free kick, came after just 40 seconds. Well, this was the most significant match in the relegation zone, and it looked to be going Luton's way until Alan Shearer outjumped Mervyn Day. Southampton's winner from Ian Dowie was dubious. Dangerous play and offside. Luton were fuming. They haven't been away for over 12 months. It's become more of a jinx than a bad run. West Ham had lost their previous 6, the last 4 without scoring, so it was relief as much as anything which greeted Mike Small's opener, set up by Martin Allen. It was an afternoon of family ties at Upton Park. Martin's cousin Bradley, least known member of the Allen clan, equalising for QPR, contender D, and that had a touch of the Clive Allens about it. It was Bradley who put Rangers in front after Clive Wilson had worked an opening. Really was a soft goal for West Ham to concede. Allen had no trouble losing his markers, and there was an element of doubt about Miklosko's judgment. But Rangers are never more susceptible than when they're one up, and never more dangerous when they're one down. The First Division's draw specialists, 16 so far this season. Martin Allen's shot unluckily hit the post, but luckily the ball found its way right across goal where substitute Tim Breaker was lurking.